Hello, everybody. I am Jennie Bellinger, and I wanted to share a story with you that has over time helped me to begin to understand how I've been able to create community that feels like family. So, I grew up in the Air Force, meaning my father was in the United States Air Force from the time that before I was born until I turned 21 years old. So I literally grew up being a child of the military and moving every so often. And in doing that, one of the things that I learned was how to make friends very, very quickly. Now, this was not something that I realized other people, um, that other people could not do. So what I went ahead and started looking for was how to do this and how to be able to teach this. Because as an adult, when I went into business, what happened for me was I would be working with people on my team and they would say things like, well, of course you can do that. You're Jenny. And for many years, I didn't understand why they thought I could do something and they couldn't. And in 2018, I was introduced to something that helped me begin to understand why it was that people thought that I could do something and they couldn't. And so I was introduced to the Ohana Way. And the overview of the Ohana Way had me begin to understand how growing up, when I learned how to make friends very, very quickly, I learned how to read people very, very quickly, and I learned how to be myself very, very quickly, authentically me. And that brought people in such a way that I, I very much felt like family to people. And I didn't understand that other people didn't know how to do that. So I want to share with you what I learned from the Ohana Way. Now, the Ohana Way is a five-step process that was brought together by a gentleman named Scott Conway, and he has become my mentor and my coach, and also my very good friend. I actually just got to have dinner with him this weekend. He was in the town where I live here in the United States, visiting a friend, another friend of ours. And the Ohana Way just goes step by step, helping to explain how to begin to build a community that feels like family. Because, in all honesty, when people use this system, the people around you do become family. So, Ohana, if you've heard of that before, you've probably heard of it from the Disney movie Lilo and Stitch. Um, Ohana is the Hawaiian word for family, and what Scott has done is he's taken OHANA and turned it into that five-step process. Each of those letters stands for something, and so I've been using this process now in my own life for years without even knowing it, and, have been using it intentionally now that I've known about it and I've become one of the few people in the world who can actually teach this process. I've now been using it intentionally in my business since 2018. So, OHANA, Ohana, stands for oasis. So, this is a safe refuge. Are you a safe place, a safe space for people who are in your life? And are you able to maintain that safety pretty much no matter what? Now, some people think, well, of course I'm safe. Of course I'm a safe person. I would never hurt anybody. Well, that's only one piece of it. Another piece of the oasis, the being safe, is, are you judgmental with them? And if somebody is feels like they are being judged by you, they're not going to feel as safe. So making sure that you are maintaining that feeling of safety, that non-judgmental piece is so incredibly helpful in making sure that you are able to maintain a safe space around this person. The H stands for harmony. This means, are you trying to be as harmonious in your life with people around you as possible? Are you bringing in diversity? So I want you to think of going to a concert and you walk into this concert and it's an orchestra, but it's an orchestra of just flutes. The music might be very pretty, but you may not find it to be as moving and as glorious as many of us find a full orchestra with all the plethora, the myriad of instruments that are available that can participate in a full-blown orchestra. And that's really what we mean by harmony. Are you looking to include as many different people in your community who have differing views, who have different strengths, who have different ways of being in the world in order to create this beautiful, harmonious thing? Because keep in mind, going back to the analogy of the orchestra, if the orchestra isn't all playing the same song. So think about at the beginning of the concert when the musicians all first sit down and they're warming up their instruments. None of them is playing the same song. It's a complete and utter chaos of sound, a cacophony of sound. And it's not the same thing as once the conductor gets up there and begins to bring them together into one song. And that is when people begin to feel that those full body tingles that come from a full symphony playing the same song, because all of that diversity is being brought together to create one great, beautiful piece of music. Now, once somebody has established a safe place, safe space, they've brought people in order to create diversity and work towards a beautiful single purpose. Then we talk about the first A in Ohana, which is assertive. Now, there are many, many people in the world who kind of step back from trying to be assertive, and that's because they don't understand that their fear is they will end up looking aggressive. And so the way that you determine whether an action is assertive or aggressive is assertive in the Ohana way is defined as moving forward on purpose with respect for others. Moving forward on purpose with respect for others. So when somebody is moving forward on purpose with respect for others, that is assertiveness. If you remove any one of those pieces, it becomes aggression. So we all know that when somebody's being aggressive, they are not moving forward with the people around them. That oftentimes ends up with a lateral or a backwards movement because the aggressive person is not seen as a safe place, safe space. They are not harmonious. Nobody wants to be a part of that, right? So it doesn't actually move the aggressive person forward. An aggressive person also is very rarely moving forward with a purpose. Because oftentimes, aggressive people, their only purpose is to win, and that is not purpose, and I'm talking about purpose with a capital P. Winning is not a purpose, right? And, of course, we all know that aggressive people rarely show up with respect for others. So that aggression that we've talked about does not move them forward, is not respectful, and does not have purpose. So when you are considering what you are doing in your life and you are looking at, does this move us forward? Does this move us forward closer to our purpose and with our purpose? And is this respectful of others? If all of those are true, then that is assertiveness. Now, the N in Ohana is nobility. Am I being my highest and best self around others? And one of the easiest ways to go through and determine that is picking a code in by which to live life. I personally have chosen Ohana as the code by which I choose to live my life. This is the way I choose to be because it creates family, right? So it's so important to me. I've actually tattooed it on my body. I have the logo for the Ohana Way right here with me all the time as a reminder to live the Ohana principles. Am I a safe place, safe space? Am I encouraging and participating in diversity towards harmony? Am I being assertive in what I'm doing? Am I moving forward with purpose, or moving forward on purpose with respect for others? And am I being my highest and best self as much as I possibly can? My goal in my nobility is always to be a better person today than I was yesterday. Living in that nobility really helps to do that. And the final A in Ohana is aloha. Now, what I've learned from Scott is that aloha, if you've ever been to Hawaii, means a loving hello and a loving goodbye. They mean all of those things in love. And so the way we define love in the Ohana community is we define love as I want the best for you. I want to be the best for you. And I want you to have transcendent joy. So, the way this shows up for me when I'm in business is I'm wanting to make sure that I'm always my best self. So, this goes back to the nobility. I want to be the best for the person. So, I'm always working on myself as a coach. I'm working on myself as an entrepreneur, working on myself as a human being, my own personal development all the time. I want to be the best for you. So, what this means is if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I am, I in terms of a business conversation, I'm making sure that I am the best referral partner for them or I am the best coach for them. And if I believe during the conversation at any point that I know someone who's a better fit, I already know there's someone in my network who would be a better person to connect the person that I'm talking to, then I make that connection because if I'm not the best, I don't take on that client. I don't take on that person as well. I will still obviously refer them, but I will also let them know that there's someone else who is going to possibly be a better referral partner for them. So I'm always wanting to make sure I'm being the best for them. And I want people around me to have transcendent joy. And really, that just is making sure that we are having good conversations and that I am able to really show up in love for everybody. We talk in the Ohana community about the different types of love that exist. There is agape, which is love for somebody because they exist as a human. There is phileo, which is the brotherly kind of love, the friend kind of love. And the final kind of love, of course, the one that most people think of when they think of love is eros, the romantic love. So we don't show up in eros love in business. We show up in phileo love. You know, if you know someone pretty well, you can be very friendly, loving in a friendly way. And you can also show up in agape, right? You just love people because they exist as human beings. When you show up that way, when you show up with your default setting being love, it's really hard for people to not already feel like family with you. So Ohana, as you can tell, is something that means a lot to me and has now become a part of how I coach. It has become a part of my everyday life, and it is something that I put out there for the whole world to see. And I'm doing my best to make sure we have as many people living Ohana as possible. Thank you.